have a voice? I have no idea. The morning drip. Thursday morning edition. We're very sleepy over here. We also are very late because I just needed a little extra time. Anyway, we are, hopefully by the time this is out, it's still morning because it takes forever. But anyway, we're not going to get into a lot of the things that happened yesterday. We are going to instead discuss something that's a forefront of my mind, which is I don't like using the term toxic, negativity, toxic positivity. I'm not big into those terms, but we are going to talk about the toxic negativity when it comes to I'd say a vocal minority in the Michigan fan base, because I do feel like it's been out of control for a while. I've talked a lot about this on the Locked On Wolverines podcast over the years, and lots of PSAs of, I know I'm not one that should say, this is how fans should or shouldn't behave, but there are some things that are just, it's, I guess, as someone who has been a fan and is a fan of many things and, went to Michigan and grew up a big Michigan fan and, was a big Michigan fan all the way up until the point where I was in the media, it's funny to me when I see certain people behaving a certain way because, like, for instance, I'm not really a Lions fan anymore. And I understand Michigan could get to that point where they are not winning to the point where, like with the Lions, it's not just because they don't win. I'm not much of an NFL person myself in general. I'll watch some of it on a weekly basis. I watched a ton last year, of course, but generally not a big Lions fan. But I remained a big Lions fan even as I went, while living in California, having to wake up early, go to a bar in order to watch the 10 a.m. kickoff games every single week in the 0-16 season. Michigan is not at that point, which I think is being conflated to some degree, in the sense of there are a lot of national people and a lot of fans that will act like Michigan is right on par with the Lions. And maybe it's that crossover, right? The idea that you have Lions fans that are used to the team not being any good, and then you have Michigan fans that were used to the team being good, and now it kind of feels like it can't quite get to where, you can't get to that playoff win, I wonder if that's part of it. But I see a lot of the negativity on a daily basis, because when you're in the media and you're posting things, it's amazing the types of things that people will say to you. I'm sure I'll get a bunch of angry comments here on this YouTube, which, if that's your prerogative, I guess have at it. But I just find it interesting, and it's like one of those things that I said on Wolverines*Wire in an article some time ago, is this idea of, why don't you try to love the thing that you claim to love, right? Because I think that that's weird that a lot of fans don't, I understand you're frustrated. You want to win. You want Michigan to beat Ohio State. I know that's probably the thing that's foremost. Here's the thing about it. There's nothing Michigan's going to be able to do for you, that is going to satiate that. Michigan is doing everything in its power right now to try to beat Ohio State. They've really emphasized it this offseason particularly. You've got the signs up. Aiden Hutchinson says all kinds of things about, we are emphasizing it in ways that you can't imagine. I believe that's a direct quote. There's nothing that they're going to be able to do for you today that's going to make you feel better. And unfortunately, it's a once-a-year situation. Second part of that is Ohio State, and I talk a ton about this on Locked On Wolverines. Ohio State is in a league of its own, essentially. They are not in the same situation as they were in the 2000s. They aren't in the same situation as they were, throughout the eras of like the 1970s. I understand 1968 into 1969, that Ohio State team was considered the best college football team ever. And Bo Schembechler came in and took it down, right? And then they had the 10-year war. Unfortunately, college football has changed a lot. And there are really, three programs? Ohio State, Alabama, and, we all know Rutgers is right there. Clemson, sorry. Anyway, nonetheless, Ohio State hasn't taken any time off. Ohio State has been, whereas Michigan was wandering through the desert for 7 years, with the exception of 2011, really. Ohio State had 2011 off, and that was it, really. Even in a lot of those John Cooper years, when Michigan would beat Ohio State was considered one of the national powers. Michigan was mediocre Michigan, right? Going 8-4 every year until essentially 1997. Ramsey Nasrallah from 11 Warriors posted an interesting article a couple weeks or months ago. And basically it asserts that Ohio State has been consistently unbelievably good for the last 100 years. I had been arguing, at least going back to the beginning of the Woody Hayes era, which is, we're talking the 50s. It's unprecedented. So, yeah, you want Michigan to beat Ohio State, but it takes a little bit more than just desiring it. And I understand a lot of us grew up watching both of these teams being able to battle it out. And I think that the next step for Michigan is just being competitive in that game. And I know that's not going to be popular, but you have to take baby steps. Perhaps this could be the year, and we'll find out more tonight, because they kick off tonight against Minnesota. Brand new quarterback, never taken a snap before. Unfortunately, for the sake that the game is at the end of the season, he'll be a wily veteran by that point, for better or worse. But you also hope the same can be said of Cade McNamara and everyone else. So, anyhow, that all is part of this idea, and I need to now kind of tangent back to the toxic negativity. Like I said, every time I post something, it's amazing just how often I see Michigan fans hating on their team. The team that you loved to love is now the team you love to hate. And I don't know if there's anything I can do or say about that that's going to, or even what the point is. I guess I just don't get the point. So explain to me the point, I guess. Because I just don't understand what the point is, and as of hating on your own team. It does sometimes, and I've talked about this on the podcast as well, it does sometimes have some negative factors, and particularly in recruiting. And I've seen it happen so often, so often, talking directly to recruits who have said that negative fans have turned them off from schools. It includes Michigan. I mean, it's not just Michigan, but every school does have its negative aspect of its fan base. I just implore those espousing to be the leaders and best to try as hard as you can to be that. I know I'm being really preachy this morning. It's just on my mind. It's always often on my mind. It has ramifications in multiple ways. Recruits see it, players hear it. And I know there's a lot of people that say, good, it doesn't help anything. So I'm not saying to be super positive. I'm just saying that in some cases, maybe don't put the things that you're thinking on the internet, which is what I'm doing here. And I probably shouldn't be doing that, but I'm going to do it anyway. So anyway, thank you for watching this morning's episode. We will be back with the day before the game morning drip.